This is HRTV Rewind, taking a look back at the racing week.
Yep, everybody is talking about Star Guitar.
And then on the track, he pretty much stands up and performs every time. He kind of overshadows the card, but what other stories or things of interest can you bring to light for our viewers?
You know, I wanted to point out that having Evelyn Benoit being a part of horse racing, I think it's so great to have someone like her. She's so enthusiastic about the sport.
Here is a tried and true state-bred champion. Star Guitar earns millionaire status with his 4th Champions Day crown. Star Guitar!
Snug his game every step of the way on the inside, but Star Guitar gets the upper hand, and at 1-5, Star Guitar wins his 3rd Louisiana Premier Night Championship.
Here's the star of the show, Star Guitar, now a 17-time winner. Star Guitar in the Costa Rising Stakes.
Star Guitar is in full flight for the wire. Sweet Southern Moon moves to 2nd. It's Star Guitar once again in the mile.
My Star Runner has taken over the lead. Here comes Star Guitar with giant strides on the outside. He just gobbles up My Star Runner. It's Star Guitar, another win in the Gold Cup.
He is a special horse. He's got personality. He's got that good mind, and he's very handsome and very talented. He's got a great fan base here in Louisiana, and we hope that, you know, across the country that they feel the same way. We do get a lot of mail, I tell you. We have a son that's a singer. That's who he was named after. He's a guitar player, and he had gotten awards that year, the B.B. King Entertainer of the Year and a Grammy nomination. There was also a movie that was based on his life story. So that's why Star was named in order to give Tab that credit for saving coastal erosion and being a great guitarist. And the amazing story is that Star survived everything, the storm, losing his mother, and the rest looks like it could be very well the best in history.
We're very happy with him. We've been happy with him his whole life, and this is no different. He looks great, he's training great, had a nice, you know, even campaign all year long. He's very fresh still. We don't run him too often, and he had a nice race in November about 5 weeks ago, and 3 nice breezes since then, and we think he's set up perfectly to bring the wood today.
How fun must it be to train such a thoroughly consistent, genuine, and professional racehorse as Star Guitar? I look at the fact that he's unbeaten this year, but 8 out of 10 at Fairgrounds. What's his secret? Why is he as good as he is? Is he an easy horse to train? Is he just smart?
No, there is no secret. That's the thing. He's always been sound, which is the most important thing, as you all well know. He's got ability, obviously, and he hasn't gotten sour at any point in time.
Inside the final 16th, get in the house with the upper hand for Miguel Mena. Get in the house, pushed out to win by a couple of lengths. Lawyer Tiffany still wanders stand side. Toward the inside, Harley's Dreams. Lawyer Tiffany, Harley's Dreams, photo.
I just think today she's a big filling. I think she got over the Oval Hill, the bigger racetrack here today, and she ran well.
And Robbie knowing her made a lot of difference. I was confident the whole way.
In deep stretch, Izzy's Gold. Izzy's Gold at 42-1. Izzy's Gold upset-minded in the Champions Day Lassie.
Were you looking forward to today with this one? Did you think that she'd run such a big effort today?
Honestly, yeah, I was.
Speedacious leads Little Polka Dot second against the rail. Speedacious with Miguel Mena. Speedacious first in the ladies sprint, beats Little Polka Dot by 2.
Yeah, I felt confident going in here, but there were some nice fillies in here, and I knew things had to go right for us. And luckily, they gunned out there, and we were able to get the stock and pounce trip, and it worked out perfect.
on the edge of the 16th pole from Mascalino. And then toward the inside, Bucktown, it's Benoit's Machine and Mascalino. Shane Sellers with Benoit's Machine in the juvenile sprint.
That was a goal from day one. We always felt like he was the type who could win this race.
I've been getting on him since Shreveport before I went to Keeneland. He showed a lot of promise, and again, Al, trained him well and taught him a lot before he ever run, and just a talented coach, and was very lucky to get the trip today.
Inside the final half furlong, Kissimmee Kyle striking wild rally, a three-way thrill on the Champions Day turf. It was striking in the middle.
He fought for it. He really had to fight for it, but he did. He came out on top.
He's always been a fighter, and he runs hard, and my hat's off to James Gray on it.
Here's Amanacer de Oro and John Jacinto at 31-1. Amanacer de Oro upsets the Champions Day sprint.
Well, Vic, the owner's mother's from Argentina, so they wanted to name him Morning Sunrise, and they wouldn't accept it, so they named it in Spanish. So that's how he got his name. We call him Cabo, so it's easier to say than Amanacer de Oro.
Here he is, Star Guitar, with a remarkable, historical, 5th Champions Day crown! Star Guitar!
He's so nice to ride. He's push button. You just keep a leg on each side and he does all the rest, you know? He's just a phenomenal horse.
He is a gifted, talented miracle.
Well, you're 17, you just turned 17, you won your first race in May, and you just got things kicked off with a bang, so to speak. How did you feel after winning your first race?
It felt wonderful, you know. That's just what I've been wanting to do all my life, so, I mean, just enjoy it.
So where do you go from here? What are your goals for this year? Is this a dream come true already for you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If you had one thing that you could do for 2012, what would it be?
Just stay healthy and hopefully to ride in some of the big races that they have all across the country.
The first crop stallion, Discreet Cat, was a brilliantly fast racehorse, and it seems he's passing that speed along to his sons and daughters. By now, you've probably heard all about the marvelous debut of Discreet Dancer, who broke the Gulfstream Park 5 1/2 furlong track record in his nearly 10-length maiden romp on opening day. A few days later, it was a daughter of Discreet Cat, Cat Lore, who raised eyebrows in her racing debut over the grass course at Fairgrounds.
Nearest the inside, American Kitty, 4th with a couple of furlongs to go. Intercompany Loan was 5th in the final quarter of a mile. Money Madness up to take a short lead from Hidden Heat Under Pressure, and Cat Lore is charging on the outside. In the final furlong, it's Cat Lore, this newcomer. Inside the final 16th, just edging left while clear, it's Cat Lore. Cat Lore first up for Stone Farm with Mike Stidham and James Graham teaming. Cat Lore won by a half dozen.
From the family of English Oaks winner Mysterious, Cat Lore is a half-sister to Clark Handicap winner Quest, and therefore has the bloodlines to stay at least a middle distance. It all adds up to future star status for this very promising 2-year-old filly trained by Michael Stidham.
Coming up on HRTV Rewind.
I'll tell you, I've talked to him for the last 3 days. We talked about him retiring, and there's some peacefulness with him now.
Every jockey is very proud going into that race and get to ride the best horse of his country, you know, and represents his country. So it's really important.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
Big news in thoroughbred racing today. The announced retirement of one of the most successful jockeys in the history of racing in Southern California, also one of the most controversial, and that's Patrick Valenzuela. Joining us by telephone right now, Tom Knutz.
Well, I think the big thing was when he had his gallbladder taken out, he really got to thinking about his health. You know, his father had died at an early age of poor health, and Patrick, you know, has been fighting his weight for a long time now, and in doing so, it's not the healthiest aspect of his life. And he went ahead and just really thought about what's important about life. But I'll tell you, I've talked to him for the last 3 days. We talked about him retiring, And there's some peacefulness with him now. I think he's ready to go to the next chapter of his life and try to do something different, and hopefully stay within racing. And he's a very talented person. He's very bright, and I think there's a lot of things that he'll be able to do.
You trained Sugar Swirl. Tell us a couple memories about the horse for you.
She was a sweetheart. She that winter that we brought her down here, she just happened to. The stars lined up for her. She just loved Palm Meadows. She loved the kid that was riding her of a morning, and she got along great with Castellano. And for that January, February, and March, she was just she's unstoppable. She just got so big and strong, and couldn't have been doing any better at that time of a 4-year-old year.
What can we expect from Picaslu other than the fact that she's probably the one that everybody's going to have to catch?
Yeah, you know, probably the inside press mightn't be the worst part about that. There's a few of them in there, I think, that'll probably try and go with her or pressure her, and, you know, off the layoff, it might be a bit of an ambitious spot, but she is doing good, and she does like South Florida. I hope she likes Gulfstream as much as she likes Calder, but it's a tough little dash, and you know, Pomeroy Pistol, you got to respect her, and she might get a dream trip in behind a few of them that are going to try and go a bit fast early.
It is now Picaslu who goes on by, and now Picaslu the leader. Pomeroy's Pistol is closing in, then Strength the Moon on the outside. Now Pomeroy's Pistol takes the lead. Picaslu is second. Pomeroy's Pistol wins the Sugar Swirl. Photo between Picaslu and Strength the Moon, then Catch a Thief.
Luis, you've been quoted as saying that you are living out a dream at Gulfstream by getting an opportunity to ride there. Just like you mentioned, you grew up watching racing there, and it was one of your favorite racetracks. You got your first opportunity to ride Gulfstream yesterday in the last race for Mark Casse. How was it? How was the experience?
That's a great experience. That's amazing. That's great. I just rode yesterday and finished second. My horse ran big. And I'm happy after that race. I was very happy.
Going from Woodbine, riding on the synthetic track, the poly track, and now racing over this dirt track at Gulfstream where we see speed do so well, do you have to adapt? And if so, how do you adapt from coming off the synthetic now to the dirt?
Well, that's a big difference, but for me it's almost the same because I like to come from behind. I like to, I don't know, if the horse I have a speed horse, I can just give him a nice and relaxed trip. And about the dirt, it's the only thing in the dirt is you finish more dirty, right?
The Caribbean Classic this afternoon, you won it when it was run in Venezuela back in 1980. What did it mean to you as a Latin rider winning this classic Latin horse race?
It meant a lot to me because they were the best horses from Panama, different places, Peru, Puerto Rico, you know, like I think there were like 8 or 9 different countries. So the best jockeys, you know, so it was a big thrill for me to win that race, winning against some of the best jockeys for Latin America.
You know what the atmosphere is like in Louisville for the Kentucky Derby, how important that race is here in the States. There's 150,000 people there. Do you remember what the crowd was like and how they responded on this particular race day at the racetrack in Venezuela?
No, it was big. It was big. A lot of, you know, they dress really nice. The women, they wear hats, and it was like another Kentucky Derby, you know. And it was very important. I tell you, I felt a lot of pressure in that race. I felt pressure, you know, because I thought I rode the best horse, and I just wanted to win. You know, I wanted to do everything to go perfect.
Would you, if somebody said that this was Latin America's version of the Kentucky Derby, Would that be a fair statement?
I'm pretty sure, yes, yes. Every jockey is very proud going into that race and get to ride the best horse of his country, you know, and represents his country. So it's really important.
Ya están en la recta decisiva. La punta la está defendiendo Heisenberg de Venezuela, desbocado de Panamá, presionándolo por fuera con el gato Lecano afuera. Está presentándose desbocado, se defiende Heisenberg de Venezuela, desbocado la busca. Provenzano avanza tercero. Heisenberg tiene la punta, desbocado segundo. Provenzano tercero. Ganó Heisenberg de Venezuela. Segundo desbocado de Panamá. Provenzano se mete en el tercer lugar. Después está arribando el ejemplar arameo de México, Don Paco de Puerto Rico.
Coming up on HRTV Rewind.
When you look at this division, you know, it's wide open in my opinion. I could make a case for any one of those three fillies.
It's a Sunday of live racing, which we don't get here very often, which is a lot of fun for the local market. We get a ton of people out for a day like that, so it's really a lot of fun.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
Here's the reality of a voter's mindset for an Eclipse Award in the Turf Division. It pretty much boils down to what have you done for me lately? Technically, results from the entire year should be taken into consideration, but in actuality, the competition for a turf championship doesn't really begin until late summer. And while it is certainly helpful for a horse to have in his portfolio victories in as many mid-season Grade 1 races as he can muster, the results since 1999 indicate that success on Breeders' Cup Day has the most influence among voters. In fact, in the past 12 years, exactly half of Eclipse Award champions in the turf division have been victorious in one of 2 Breeders' Cup turf races for older runners. But maybe the tide is turning. Gio Ponti was voted the Eclipse Award in the turf division in both 2009 and 2010 without having actually won on Breeders' Cup Day. And in 2011, it appears that another non-winning Breeders' Cup horse will receive the honor. Cape Blanco most likely would have been a strong favorite on Breeders' Cup Day had he not been injured following his victory in the Joe Hirsch Turf Invitational, which was his 3rd straight major North American turf triumph since being imported from Europe. The marriage of a Breeders' Cup victory and an Eclipse Award has been even more prevalent in the filly and mare turf division. In the past 10 years, 9 Breeders' Cup winners were voted an Eclipse Award in this category, the last 2 being swept up by Goldakova, despite the fact that her only North American appearance during the entire year came on Breeders' Cup Day. However, the trend likely will be interrupted in 2011 as long-shot filly and mare turf heroine Perfect Shirl may have to take a back seat to Stay Salida, who had been dominant in the division throughout the year.
With a 16th of a mile remaining, pacemaker Donis Lewis 3rd. They're coming down to the finish, and Stay Salida does it at 1-2 and wins the Flower Bowl by 2 emphatic lengths.
We need some help on some of this inside information, and we need to look at these horses a little closer. So let's dial up the phone. Janine Edwards, let's start with the turf males and your thoughts on that division. You've got Acclamation and Cape Blanco and those horses nominated.
Yeah, well, exactly. They are definitely the 2 top horses headlining the division. And when you look at their accomplishments, I think, you know, people can start to say, well, is there an East Coast bias, which sometimes we see in the voting in the past with East Coast wins carrying a little more weight. And that would, of course, go in Cape Blanco's favor. You know, he had 3 significant signature wins in this country, and he, of course, defeated Gio Ponti twice. But Acclamation, you know, he was pretty darn consistent with his 5 graded stakes wins, although most out on the West Coast. But he did beat, you know, main track or synthetic horses in the Pacific Classic. So, I mean, I kind of think it's going to go Cape Blanco's way, but you could definitely make a case for Acclamation.
Janine, let's move to the ladies on turf. And, you know, not a career does one race make, but the race all year long that has the most weight as far as Eclipse Awards goes is a Breeders' Cup event. Perfect Shirl showed up on the biggest day and ran the biggest race of her life.
I know, and like you guys were saying in your package, you know, the past few years with Goldakova, that's been enough to seal the deal. But this year, you know, I just don't see it happening. I mean, Perfect Trail was just not consistent throughout the year. When you look at this division, you know, it's wide open in my opinion. You know, you've got Never Retreat, 5 graded stakes wins, but did not run in the Breeders' Cup. You've got Stoffalita, who you've already mentioned, 2 grade 1s in 4 U.S. starts. She was, I think, 3rd in the United Nations against boys. And, you know, Winter Memories, let's not forget about her. I mean, like you said, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, she did have 4 graded stakes wins throughout the season. So I could make a case for any one of those 3 fillies. I mean, Stoffalita, I think, is the choice for a lot of people, but I think Never Retreat is a filly that's got it. You got to take a hard look at her as well.
Oregon Championship Day, that's similar to what a lot of other states do. I think Maryland was kind of the one that started all that with the Maryland Million Day, and it's basically our state bred stakes day. It's a Sunday of live racing, which we don't get here very often, which is a lot of fun for the local market. We get a ton of people out for a day like that, so it's really a lot of fun. Here on the track especially, but it's also nice for the Oregon bred runners to get their chance to run for some good purses. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, state bred races don't come up as salty as wide open stakes races, but you know, they're a lot of fun races. It's cool for me personally too, because I know all the connections and stuff like that. So it's fun to see them get to watch their horses, you know, run for some good purses, and it's just really, really a fun day here at the track.
Final 16th to go. Shamundi hanging just a little bit here. HVR West Cascadian battles on. Midas Gold Touch is back to 3rd. Blackjack Moon runs on late. Shamundi a nose in front. HVR West Cascadian. Shamundi and HVR West Cascadian. HVR West Cascadian came back to get the win. Final 16th to go. Kate Winselot still clear by 3. Legendary Madam battling hard from 2nd. Then comes Missy Sissy. Kate Winselot still in command. Missy Sissy going to make it close. Kate Winselot begging for the wire. 3-way photo finish. Kate Winselot might have held on, but that was very close.
I started training a few horses for Mr. Papis of Midwest Thoroughbreds. I'd say like it'd be 3 years ago this January. He sent me some horses in Tampa. Because his mainstream in Chicago, they were down for the Christmas break, and there were some grass horses and stuff. He sent them to Tampa, and we did pretty good with them, and he liked the way we operate our stable, so he sent me a few more, and then all of a sudden, as of this year, January 1st, I train just privately for Midwest Thoroughbreds, so it's been a nice descent.
You are incredibly active, not just the 4 yesterday, but I'm constantly seeing on the card horses claimed by you. You're kind of reinventing that game.
I pretty much do all the claiming. We discuss early in the morning after training. We talk 3 or 4 times a day, Mr. Papis, and we go over our day's plans, and I relay that to my assistants. If I'm not at the track myself, I relay that to my assistants who, like, you know, I can't say enough about it. If I didn't have them good guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at, that's for sure.
That's all for Rewind this week. Here's a look at what's coming up next week on HRTV.
We say hello via the 2-shot, as we call it here on Fast Track.
He's got more facial hair than I.
You got more gray. We're going to take you out to Gulfstream race number 4 right now as they're loading into the gate.